Hi, my name is Terry. I'm the founder of Shine.Online, your ultimate health and wellness directory. Today, we've got one of the fantastic practitioners on our site with us. Her name is Laura Kissmann. As a quantum nutritionist, Laura's mission is to inspire, educate, and empower individuals to kickstart their health transformations. Her business, Laura Kissmann Wellness, offers personalized and group coaching, cutting-edge therapies, and educational resources. From various light therapies, access consciousness bars, infrared sauna therapy, chakra balancing, quantum nutrition, and her co-hosted Quantum Health podcast. Her services encompass a wide variety of modalities to cater to your individual needs. By combining her expertise and knowledge of quantum biology with traditional therapies, she provides a holistic approach that addresses the root causes of chronic conditions. Wow, that is so much. Welcome, Laura. I'm so glad you're with us today.
Thank you so much, Terry.
How are you doing?
I'm well, Terry. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Now, that was a mouthful. There is so much that you do, and I'm just curious, how did you get into healing people or working with all of these different kinds of therapies? What got you into wanting to be a nutritionist and a healer?
It's been a roundabout journey over many years to get here, but I was in the Air Force for 20 years between regular and reserve time and had some kids in there. And really, at the beginning of my life, I always felt I was the picture of health, always strove to eat healthy and exercised a lot, and all the things that you would think would make for a healthy person. And during my time in military college, I had some injuries, and then eventually my first posting, I started to see some unusual symptoms. And then eventually, after my first child, I had some unusual symptoms of just being incredibly warm, lost a lot of weight, had some bowel issues, and in the end found out that I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease called Graves, which is hyperthyroidism. So most people struggle with hypothyroidism, where they're struggling with weight gain. I had the opposite problem where I was too thin, and which can be very scary for the heart. You get heart racing and you have anxiety. It's really not a fun diagnosis or experience to have. And that really started the journey of looking at myself. What could I be doing? This wasn't in my genetics, in my family. And and I mentioned I had some injuries along the way. And so I actually left the Air Force, though I loved it. I loved it dearly. I loved the camaraderie of it all. I left, I was in something called telecommunications, which was interesting, but I was not passionate about. And I decided I was going to become a physiotherapist. And that was just a bit of a struggle to get in because of being married to a fighter pilot and moving across the country and just getting near a school. And so that didn't happen. So I took massage therapy for 2 years, became a trained massage therapist. And then we moved, and I just fell back into a nice, comfortable Air Force job and never really pursued the massage. I did relaxation massage for years, but then just over time, I heard about holistic nutrition, and that just, I was being more and more drawn to thinking diet, maybe diet is the piece that could have caused what I had, or could help what I had. So I went down that rabbit hole, and I studied holistic nutrition, loved it. And then I think over the COVID era, I just started to lose a little bit of passion for that. I started to just to feel like there's something more. And then this literally fell into my lap, quantum biology, and I studied it. I'm still studying it. I feel like I'm a student of quantum biology. I probably will be all my life.
Can you
And
explain a little bit what quantum biology is?
quantum biology, so it sounds like a fancy term. It is really two things merging together. It's biology coming together with quantum physics. And the word quantum, it's used a lot today in energy healing and things like that. I don't think of it actually like that right away. I think of it from the biology perspective and physics perspective, where quanta is the word in Latin that means tiny. So I think of it as the tiniest packet. And in quantum physics, tiny packets are electrons, photons, protons. And so when we look at quantum biology, we actually go below the cell, like below there's organs, there's tissues, there's cells, and then we want to go below that cellular level into these little organelles. And one in particular that we study a lot in quantum biology is the mitochondria. A lot of people know of it from high school biology as being the powerhouse of the cell, what makes our energy. But it does so much more than that. And so a quantum biology coach, which is what I am, really looks at health through the lens of that little tiny mitochondria. And I like when I look at somebody, I'm thinking, are they helping their mitochondria? Are they losing energy to their environment? What's happening there? And so
It
we look
sounds like
at,
you're always thinking.
what I love about it is you look at people differently. You don't look at them as being born genetically flawed. I look at what are they doing in their environment. It's really just coaching people through that process.
That sounds so fascinating. Now, how does that translate into health improvements?
Good question. Yeah, very good question. How does it help people? I can always tell you some case studies, but it empowers people to look at their environments and mitigate some of the places they might be losing the electrons, and then to do practices that would help them gain electrons. And I mean, just the simplest way to gain electrons for me to explain to someone is just to go out onto the earth and put your feet on the ground because we actually gather electrons. It sounds crazy, but there's research and research studies on earthing, and that's just like a simple fundamental practice you can do. Or you could get sunlight and get photons that will actually help the electrons in your body and make all kinds of energy and beautiful things.
I'm not
Mhm.
sure I understand how that helps people. Like, so what? I get an additional electron or photon. Like, how does that help my health
Oh,
symptoms? How do I
oh,
feel
thank
differently? I guess that's my
thank
question
you.
is people in terms of what we're feeling.
Okay, so if someone's not feeling their best, typically they are lower energy. It means they're actually losing energy to their environment. So we need to make sure that their body can build energy. And we can draw that from food, but food unfortunately isn't the whole picture. We need to get energy from our sun. We are batteries made of water charged by sunlight.
So, like, what health symptoms does that help?
Yeah, your symptom picture will slowly just disintegrate into feeling obviously less symptoms and then just feeling optimal, feeling energetic. And it comes from getting back to, I know it's the theory again, but if you understand that the mitochondria make energy, then if you can make that energy, it frees up more energy to go towards sleeping through the night, through clearing your skin, healing the gut lining, just aligning all with circadian rhythm. That's another whole piece of quantum biology. So, yeah, all kinds of symptoms, these crazy autoimmune conditions, that's tied to the immune system. Well, the immune system is actually tied to circadian rhythm, and people don't fully understand that. And once you really dive deeper, it's very empowering. And this whole quantum biology should be layered onto every approach in health. And that's where we're going. I'm absolutely 100% confident.
So it sounds like by addressing the smallest particles in your cell, which are called mitochondria, and giving it the fuel it needs with electrons and protons, which are all above my head, but by giving it that fuel, you're helping to recenter your body's what's called homeostasis, meaning your balance, and it's helping your body course correct its own health. Would that be an accurate reflection?
Perfect. Couldn't have said it better.
Fantastic. And I think that's the piece that I wasn't sure about is it's not quantum health is not about addressing a symptom. Do this for insomnia or do that for weight loss. It's about looking at the programming of your body so that it can heal itself no matter what the symptoms are. Is that right?
It is. We are healing organisms, and people forget that. They think we have to outsource, our health to a physician, a chiropractor, a physiotherapist, homeopath. And all these are wonderful. And I see them myself, and I am some of them. I'm trained homeopath. But It's when you layer on this other piece, it's fundamental and everything works better.
That's amazing. Now, how has all of this helped with your original issue, which is your Graves' disease?
I've been able to get off medication and now take more of a food-based, which is wonderful. That was the big change. And I'm now entering another phase of my life called menopause. And it was hormones that threw me the first place and drove me into autoimmunity. And it's probably challenging me once again at this later interesting stage of my life. And yet I'm thriving. I'm sailing through this journey with less symptoms than my friends of my age, and doing all the practices is helping. Because unfortunately, my thyroid was irradiated. I was very young and I got talked into this. So I don't know if my thyroid can actually really ever come back, but I'm starting to have some signs that I'm thinking I'm very curious to see, because I'm starting to have to lower the supplement that I take, and I find that very intriguing. Yeah, it's exciting.
So your body is really showing signs of healing and regeneration. That's
Regeneration.
amazing.
It is.
Wow.
I think we're healing organisms, and sometimes we need time, but we need the inputs as well.
Wow. I feel like we could talk forever on quantum healing and quantum biology, but I'm just curious, you work with clients, and what are the typical people? Who are they, and what are they generally looking for?
I would say my typical client is closer to my age. Definitely, I would say perimenopausal, menopausal women. I don't exclude though. I've worked in the Air Force with men all my career, so I'm very comfortable in that environment. And I do have some male clients, and I've had teenagers. I have helped a couple young children, but I would say it's primarily women that are struggling with hormones, thyroid, cancer. I seem to be attracting more
Mm.
cancer clients. From my perspective, I am so excited because I feel like I've got extra tools that they're not hearing when they go to the oncologist. And they're able to pursue other things with their diet and their lifestyle that augments what they're doing with their primary team. So that one's been coming up more and more. And I would say aging. People are really wanting not just lifespan, where they want to live longer, they want health span. They want to live healthy right up to the end. It's not so much about
Yeah,
longevity, it's really quality of life and just radiant
yeah.
health. And I'm looking at behind you, I see shine. I want people to shine. I want them to be radiant. I do get clients that come to me for weight, and there's so much in the quantum health coaching that I do that can really help people to the bottom of why. Why are they, they're doing diets, they lose the weight, but it comes back on eventually. Why is that? And we get to the root of, okay, we get you to a point where you lose the weight and you don't have to struggle with the weight because you fundamentally understand. It's got a program. It's looking to maintain a homeostasis or balance of their weight. So yeah, that's primarily what I see.
Wow, that is so exciting. I love how you're combining, the quantum health, the energy, the foundational part with connecting back to hormones. We've got a lot of menopausal women who are very open to trying unconventional things that are natural and looking at the cause or the source of discomfort, and especially menopausal weight gain is a real thing. So that's really exciting that you're able to connect all of these pieces. Can you share an example of someone you've worked with who's had good success?
So I had somebody recently who came to me with eczema, primarily on their face. So that was, upsetting, right? It was areas that people are seeing. This was a menopausal woman. I have light therapy units. I've learned a lot about light therapy. I'm absolutely passionate about it. And we did light therapy, but I didn't just do that. So when she came, I always do nutrition plans. So they get a sort of a dietary, a supplement, and a lifestyle. I always follow up with notes. So people, if I'm explaining things, I want them to have something concrete to be able to, at the end of the day, look back and go, okay, what do I need to do? What are the priorities? Simplify. So I had her do a food elimination diet because we were looking at, but we decided not to do testing. I'm aligned with a company in the States. We do some really specific, very interesting, especially gluten and food sensitivity testing. But we didn't have to go that with her. She was really compliant, and she took out a few key foods, realized that it was dairy for her. That was the key one. And then I had her try a supplement, something topical, the quantum. like some of the quantum health strategies. And she was already doing a few. I didn't have to move the needle that much with her, but we did some key ones and she's thrilled. Yeah, her eczema is under control and it hasn't been. She was completely steroids, a steroid cream that was very strong and it was disturbing her because she knew there were some side effects of this cream. So, yeah, very happy client. What I love about her story is that sometimes it's not just one thing. Like maybe the dairy might have done it, but because we did the light therapy, she got an instant result, was super ecstatic. We did this little extra little cream. We're not sure. Did that cream move the needle? We're not sure. But now she's empowered and it's like she took control back of her skin and
It's
her health.
fantastic. And was she able to reduce that steroid cream?
Oh, she's off it. Yeah,
Oh,
no, it's gone.
wow.
Mhm.
That's amazing. So, all right, can you give us maybe a couple of tips of things we could do that are
Okay.
quantum in nature? Like show us or give us an
Okay.
example of some things that would help us in terms of our
Sure.
mitochondria and yeah.
Okay. Really simply, I would always start with what happens first thing when we wake up. Ideally, we want to see the sun rise. And the sun does so many things, but the sunrise in particular is very special. It's when there's the most red, and red is our healing frequency, red and infrared. We always have infrared, but this most red. But it's also a specific amount of blue light that comes from the sun at that time of the day that basically programs all the clocks. We have all these clocks throughout our whole body. And so it programs our circadian timing. So never miss another sunrise. We're all, we only have so many left in our lives, no matter what age you are. So I just implore people to never miss a sunrise. Get outside for it. You have to have naked eyes. You can't have contacts in and you can't have glasses on. You have to actually put the glasses up. The second thing I would say is, it's back to the sun again, is to get outside at multiple intervals during the day. If you're stuck in an office, you're stuck in front of a computer, open a window if you can, that helps. I'm doing this interview with the window open, so I have full spectrum light, balancing out the light that's coming from my screen. So that's super important because we need UV light. Right now, where we live in Canada, we've lost our UVB for about 4 months, but there's still UVA, and we get a lot of wonderful things from our UVA light. And the third tip would be to, after the sun sets, do what the animals do, which they don't look at blue light anymore. It's gone. The only blue light you would have would be from the moon and a full moon, of course, but the full moon is only about 5 lux. We are, as modern humans, we are living indoors. We're in front of screens at night, watching Netflix or working late on our computers, or just LED lights, a lot of bright lighting. We're breaking a Mother Nature's law. And I have this little saying that it's break Mother Nature's laws and she will break you. Heed Mother
Ooh.
Nature's laws and she will heal you. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, I guess all those three, if I was going to sum them up, would be stop breaking Mother Nature's laws. Not being up at sunrise is breaking a Mother Nature's law. All the animals that are diurnal like us, that are meant to see light in the day, our eyes are, everything about us is programmed to see light during the day. They're up. So we're breaking a law by sleeping in morning. Now, to do that, you need to get to bed earlier. And yeah, and with the third one, the blocking the blue light, that can be many things. That can be putting software on your computer to block the blue light. It can be putting a screen over your TV to make it more orange looking, changing the lighting in your home, or the simplest way is to buy a cheap pair of blue blockers. I'll just give you a demo here. These are like $35. They're, yeah,
Oh,
they're
wow.
orange. They're unbreakable. I can squeeze them. These are actually my husband's. I bought these for my whole family. I have my own favorite pair, and I'm interviewing the CEO of the company actually tomorrow, which is going to be fun. I typically wear this when I'm on screens, even though I have the software, but I can't always have the window open. I
Mm.
find my eyes feel better, but after sunset, I go orange. So I click on, then it's red before bed. So it depends on the night. If I have a big day the next day, I will get red on sooner because I really want to maximize my sleep and it helps bring in the melatonin. So I'll go red.
Mm.
So that's my little demo for you.
Wow.
Everything is very red at the
Wow.
moment, so I won't stay like this.
And so the yellow would be for earlier in the evening? Is that it?
Yes, so
Yellow, orange, red?
we don't want to go fully. yellow all day long because we need some blue. It works with our circadian rhythm. So I really like this pair in particular. They're just very slightly yellow. So they allow a little more blue, but they take the nasty, more dangerous blue out, the nasty wavelengths out with
Those
it.
would be good when you're on the computer, but then
Yeah,
when you're walking outside, you wouldn't need the yellow.
exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha. All
And
right. You
just,
need
yeah,
the
and it's
natural
also
blue, not the chemical or artificial blue.
exactly. And just, I just always like to tell people if you're always wearing blue blockers, get outside, take the blue blockers off. This isn't even natural, right? This is still, it's just trying to get a little closer of taking out the nasty part of the blue, which is not out in the sun. We never get isolated blue. We have infrared, UV, and we have all the other colors along with it. So it's really unnatural. So just the way to fix that is just keep going outside.
That's fantastic. I'm just blown away by your level of knowledge of light and wavelengths and things that aren't mainstream really. And I hear that you've got a podcast sharing your knowledge. Can you tell us
I
more about
do.
that?
I do. The podcast is called Quantum Healthy. So make sure it's healthy. If you type in health, you'll get a million hits, but Quantum Healthy. And it's available on YouTube and all podcast apps. I co-host it with my partners in the States, India, and she's a licensed addiction counselor. And then I bring the quantum nutrition. So between those two pieces, it's my pride and joy right now, my sense of purpose. We're able to reach so many more people and get the experts to explain why we need to do all these practices and just really simplify quantum biology to the layperson and build their knowledge and empower them to have a healthier life. We're interviewing on all topics like red light therapy, blue blockers, lighting, sunlight experts. And then and we've had an incredible interview. One of our most listened to is a quantum optometrist who's explaining
Wow.
why all this blue light is contributing to a lot of the eye conditions we're experiencing so much more of today with macular degeneration, glaucoma, and things like this. And we're looking at water. We've had some really interesting interviews on water. And yeah, I highly encourage people to go to the podcast and start from the beginning because we're building a little bit as we go, and I hope more people will come on.
That is fantastic. So we'll definitely link Laura's podcast and her site in the description below. But I love that you are sharing that knowledge freely through your podcast and that we can start at the beginning and build our knowledge. This is great information and very empowering. Would you have one final thought to leave with our viewers today?
Uh, would be stop outsourcing your health. You know more than you realize. And there's resources out there. It's not that I'm pushing you to sit on a computer. That's where I learned a lot of, it wasn't just in school. I'm continuing to learn. And yeah, just always have a physician. It's important to have a physician, but do your research. Yeah, there's lots that you can do to get back to optimal health.
That is fantastic. And doing your research would be a great place to go with Quantum Healthy to start your research journey. I think that's fantastic. So you can find out more about Laura through Shine.Online. We'll be linking that below. Thank you so much, Laura, for taking the time to speak with us today. What you shared was different and unique and empowering and really speaks to the underlying conditions that we need to start addressing, the source so that our body can heal. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Terry.